Good morning and welcome to the Operator's Edge webinar series. I'm Joe Kustelski, joined by Daniel Kustelski, CEO of Chalkline Sports, and Craig Shacklett, founder of URComped. Thanks so much for joining us today. Today's topic is 3 ways to charge up your player acquisition. Before we get started, a little bit about the Operator's Edge webinar. We've been doing this since April of 2018. This is our 80th episode. We've had nearly 3,500 attendees. It happens the third Thursday of every month. We focus on data and experience sharing, and we like to think of it as the fastest 30 minutes in gaming. Real quick, we're going to do a sound check and just make sure the people in the back can hear us. That's what the 88 episodes have taught us. And it looks like Michael. Thank you very much, Michael. Just a reminder, all webinars are recorded and they are available for sharing or for viewing afterwards at chalklinesports.com. Just scroll down to the bottom and click the webinars link. It will take you to the replays. We're grateful to have a guest today, and so our guest is Craig Shacklett. He's the founder of URComped and Trio CRM. And Craig, we always love the origin stories. What prompted you to start these two companies?
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I'm excited to be part of the fast 30 minutes in sports and casino marketing. I started URComped. Really, the story started in 2008, so about 17 years ago now. I worked at Harrah's in database marketing, and I learned a ton about, back then, and still Caesars now is really a trailblazer when it comes to database marketing. But I was finding myself having nightmares about being trapped in an Excel spreadsheet. I'm like, I got to go do something else. So I got a contract as a casino host on a cruise ship. Every cruise, I get a list of, the top 10 players, 15 players that were sailing for free, selling comped. And since I worked in database marketing before, it kind of all made sense. All right, these people obviously gambled a certain amount on their previous cruise. Now they got a free cruise. But what was interesting was that every cruise, there'd be just as many players that were gambling as much or more of our invited guests, but they had paid full price for their cruise. So there's got to be an opportunity to let players pre-qualify themselves and get comped. But obviously the barrier is that casinos don't want to share their database and share their player information. So it's tough for players to qualify themselves. And so our big light bulb moment was like, oh man, if we know what offers the players are already getting, then we could, with some level of confidence, estimate what they're worth and then start showing them offers that they qualify for that are going to be a little more appealing than just the standard $50 show up for a new card bonus. Problem was 2008, the economy was crashing. I didn't know how to code. So I couldn't build the site. So I was just resigned to the fact that, all right, well, somebody else is going to do this because I thought it was a sound idea. But then a few years later, I was connected to my now business partner, Kale, who's just a brilliant developer. And we started working on the project on the side. And then in 2015, quit our day jobs and went, all in on URComped. And now we've got close to 500,000 players have registered on URComped. We're the #1 casino booking source for the cruise industry, and we're growing on the land-based side as well. So that's our origin story.
Love it. And in addition to your day job, it looks like you managed to sneak in a couple traveling, a little bit of traveling as well. Where are these picks from, or are you a full-time lion tamer?
Yeah. When Joe Exotic got arrested, I found there's an opening in the market. Now we just got back. Got back to a little trip from South Africa. So there's me and the family petting a cheetah, walking behind a couple lions, and then that was at one of our son's kindergarten graduation party. So
nice. Always good to take a trip. Hey, listen, Daniel just returned from OIGA, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But just real quick on the state of loyalty, Daniel, what were you hearing while you were at the conference this week?
Yeah. At OIGA the past couple of days, and I see some people from that are on the webinar. Thanks for connecting out there and here on the webinar. A lot of discussions around digital, but certainly I was on a panel with Justin Shank and Missy from Every, speaking about app marketing. There was a lot of discussions about mobile apps, mobile class 2 on-prem. There was a lot of sessions on that, a lot of booths, a lot of people were talking about it in general, and some of that had to do with the environment. There's sweeps out there, there's Kalshi, and there's a lot of there's a lot of alternative forms of gaming that is of interest right now. So people are trying to figure out how do I get on the beautiful real estate of the mobile phone from all of my customers, and how do I get people to download it? What's the utility of those apps? And obviously that all leads into loyalty and how they can add value and be a part of people's lives and entertain, not just on the days that they're trying to come to the casino or when they're leaving the casino and checking points, but how do you consistently be a part of people's weekly regiment, and so the mobile app was certainly of interest to this year out in OIGA.
And we always talk about apps, and we talk about Starbucks just because it's easy to use it as an example, but there's so many ways that they provide utility and get people back every day or on a regular basis. You don't have to get people to visit every day, but we'll talk about it. Our job is to help players, once we know them, plan their next visit to the property. Mobile apps do that. And so let's dive into 3 ways to charge up player acquisition. We talk about this, and we will never stop talking about this because it is so important. But we live in a day of mobile plus retail. The retail visit is where we make all our money, but the mobile device is how we get people's attention, where they consume their email, their social feeds, their texts, their everything from friends. Their network is on their phone. So it really is truly a mobile plus retail world. And Craig, we loved part of the story that he shared with us that, his company started with 2 questions. And Craig, we would love to walk you through your 2 questions. And I think they're really important to how we think about building our loyalty programs.
Sure. Yeah. The first one, how do high-end players decide where to take their business? I mean, a lot of it is just driven by the offer. And if the players don't have an offer at your casino, they're not going to go there, because the $50 new card sign up bonus that you put on your billboard is not going to attract a player that's worth $500 or $1,000 a day. So it may be great for somebody worth $25, $50, because that's more than they're getting in the mail from where they're already playing, but it's not attracting the bigger players. So what we do from an acquisition standpoint, we say it's really important to one, find out what those players are worth up front, and that's really what we do: cast a wide net, get them in and qualify them. And then 2, make sure that first trip is seamless and you're putting your best foot forward, because a lot of casinos, even if they don't do just the $50 new card sign up, if they're like, hey, we'll do an offer match, well, what happens then? Are the players getting in line in your player's card, and they're 5 people deep, and then they're having to negotiate with somebody? It's like, hey, what is this? How does this work? They're calling in the supervisor. So it's important to, one, know who these players are, give them an offer that is competitive. If you're further away, it's got to be more competitive than the one that's closer. So high-end players, they're really offer driven. And then I think we'll get a slide later. It's about the relationship that your hosts have with the high-end players. So those 2 are important. And then what did players love and not about their casino hosts? I've got a slide a little bit later about ACTS, but really it's about the speed and special service that hosts will drive. So yeah, thanks for throwing this up. So URComped, our business, we really run on this acronym ACTS. So A is access. What are you as a property or as a casino host giving your players access to? Players, we interviewed when we were starting tons of high-end players and just asked, like, what do you like about your best host? What do you not like about your least favorite host? And really what they said is they want to feel like there is somebody, that has access to that velvet rope, that they're able to let that player in. And so you want to make sure that in your casino marketing that you are giving players that velvet rope experience. You're giving them access, something that they wouldn't get without you. So that's A, access. C is convenience. So the offers drive a lot of it, but if the 2 offers are comparable, players are going to go where it's most convenient. And I think that dovetails well with what you were talking about, that mobile plus experience. If, one, to redeem the offer, you have to call and press 2 and wait on hold and all that. And on the other one, it's just click a button on your mobile phone. They're going to book through the mobile phone because it's more convenient. And that drives a lot of business. So convenience, transparency. A lot of players will play more if they just know what the incentive is for playing more. Like, there's people that have a lot of wealth that would go from $50 a hand on blackjack up to 100 or even more if they saw that, like, oh man, all I have to do is up my average bet by $50 and I could get access to this suite and be invited to these VIP events. So we think it's important to be transparent about that. And then speed and special service. If my wife texts me and I don't reply for 8 hours, she's not going to feel very special, right? How quickly we get back to somebody is an indicator of how much we value them. So it's very important for hosts, for casino marketing departments to be very responsive to players, because that makes them feel special. And then just layering on that special service is remembering things about the player. A real quick aside, when I first moved to Dallas, I was working for the lottery, Texas Lottery, more specifically, actually IGT, which ran the lottery. And I'd visit all these different convenience stores, and there'd be 2 across the street from each other that one would be selling 5 times as much as the one across the street. And they look the same, but when you walk in to the one that was selling a ton, there'd be somebody right there be like, "Hey Dan, how you doing? Good to see you. How are the kids?" And the other one would just it's just kind of checked out. And you could tell that people were going there because of that special service that employee was given. So ACTS is, each one of these is incredibly valuable, and you put them together, it could really supercharge your marketing.
And in addition to the person, and the fact that we now have technology that can help make people feel special, adding VIP or adding just all sorts of recognition, such a critical part of loyalty programs as you get to know players. And we talk about this all the time about where loyalty data comes from, and it comes from so many different places. And you're going to have players. We always focus on that gaming revenue dollar, but the concert tickets, the hotel stays, the F&B, the sports betting, the bingo, whatever their game is and whatever their interest is, it's critical for us to understand so that we can better market to them. And when we think about digital plus retail, and Daniel, I don't know if you saw any specifics of this at OIGA, but we've seen great success just by getting people to play something digitally that has a retail component. You get a drawing, but you have to be present to win, the drawing. And I know that there are more and more vendors in the space that are doing exactly this, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes, and again, trying to filter it through that casino app so that we know who they are, we know what their loyalty number is. But I certainly think that there's a lot of momentum towards trying to bring people back, when they're on the casino app.
And then we do have some clients that are actually using a retail event, like placing a book at a physical sports book, as a key to unlocking a mobile experience. And if you can share a little bit about that, I think that's a great way to look at this as well. Retail drives mobile.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, just because they're on your property doesn't mean that you actually know who they all are. I see Julia there, talks about 1 out of every 2 people on the casino floor actually is carded. So the other person is unknown. So there's a lot of value in driving people, hey, scan this QR code, download our app. Well, actually, while you're on property, no better time. Hopefully they feel that there's a lot of use and a lot of utility in doing that. They get something for doing that. We work with clients that are wanting to also just engage with those people on property and almost incentivize them to come and to be there. Scan the QR code, play a quick game. The game's on on the TV, put your name up on the leaderboard, and be a part of this game that is really specific to all the people that are at the viewing party, that are watching the first day of NFL football, and see your name, or at least maybe not your name, but your username in the lights.
People do love that. And I think, it does just go back to, and this was a big discussion topic at OIGA, I know, is can players access their loyalty program online? Can they sign up for the loyalty program online? Because every loyalty program that they're a part of, they probably signed up online, they downloaded the app, and they were able. And so I think it's a big ongoing concern for our industry, is making that access point available online, and like Daniel mentions, the best time to do it, get them to download the app, is while they're on property. So mobile plus retail. And why, Daniel, why are we, why is this such an important strategy, in addition to having a higher ROI?
Yeah, and this is they're 6 times more valuable. Certainly, we have seen this with our games, but every major operator, MGM and BetMGM, Rush Street and Rush Street Interactive, they talk about 1+1, the retail and online, not just being equal to 2, but it is equal to multiple that. I think Rush Street even talks about customers being 14 times more valuable that they see when they're able to combine the retail component with their digital game. So it's money being left on the table if you don't have these digital products.
And last comment about loyalty apps. It was a conversation that was on everybody's tongues. The place was jam packed, but what percentage of casino operators are investing in mobile apps?
Yeah, fewer than actually the number of people that are actually using the casino apps. And then the conversation around this particular point was, really it's still only one out of 2 of casino patrons that are using the loyalty app. So again, there's just not that utility there. There's not that reason to come back to it on a weekly basis. When they're not going to come to the property, and so figuring out how to with Chalkline, gamify the engagement. How do you add a lot of value and make sure that loyalty app is something that they want to consistently engage in? The challenge though is I think that less than 1 out of 2 are investing in that in that medium. So a little concerning about the trends there, but certainly a lot of opportunity for those casinos that actually do get this right. That I think that in their geography and their area, they will certainly stand out. Much like what Craig was talking about, previously, where you've got the guy who's just friendly and gregarious and welcoming. This is probably one of those ways that casinos can do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So mobile key for every loyalty program. It is a key, and helping people plan their next visit. Personalizing your new player offers. Friend of Nick Ippolito was on our webinar in May. Friend of Craig's, and many people in the industry know him. And I think he just started his conversation with this, like, what's your name? And so what's your value? How do I approach you? And Craig, you had a couple thoughts about like the core data that I know, just to start the conversation.
Yeah, on the acquisition side, we want to know what offers are already getting. That helps us figure out what they're worth, so we know how much we can invest in getting them to take that first trip. Once we introduce them to a customer, we start getting real play data. We want to know what they're interested in. Now, whether we work with a lot of different properties, a lot of different cruise lines, so we have access to a lot of different offers. But any casino resort has a lot of different amenities. So we make it a point to capture not just player value, but then what they're interested in. So we can, if we have a hip hop concert, for example, we know who in the database, one, qualifies for that, but then 2 is interested in that. Because if somebody just wants to hear smooth jazz all the time, they don't want to hear about Lil Wayne, the Lil Wayne concert, right? So we need to tailor that. So it's very important, because they're going to feel a lot more special, even if it's the system that's producing a list for the host that says, here's your 20 customers that are going to be interested in the Lil Wayne concert. Mm-hmm. When the host calls and says like, hey, I know you're into this, I got 2 tickets for you, it's going to feel a lot more special. So yeah, personalization in the sense of capturing interest, and then of course knowing value, so you know what you can offer them.
And having worked at Ticketmaster, your ticket purchase history tells you a lot about a person. And why is personalization so important? It's because people barely look at email. If you don't have personalization in the subject line or in the first line of an email, it is going to be hard to get people to drive in. Justin Shank, Daniel mentioned, he had this great example where it's like they call out his name in the subject line and give him a scratch and win game that he can play right then. There's immediacy and there's some FOMO if he doesn't do it. But again, the personalization drives markedly better results and just shows your customer that you know them, whether it's digitally or a host making direct contact with the player. And then the third key is use next gen tools. We get questions. We have advisors, and they're always asking us about tools that we're using. In the same way that Craig said, you said 15 years ago, hey, you couldn't code. Now you probably could code it just using AI. You just got to be. You found your partner in crime there, but there are really tools that allow you to do some of the key things. So as we think about trends. And Daniel, you can take gamification, but Craig, maybe experience-based awards and some marketing automations that you all do. But when it comes to gamification, a lot of people are just seeing results in database building and conversation starters through sports with that sports segment, right, Dan?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I mean, the crux of this screenshot is really like we're trying to get people to obviously play the game and be engaged and be entertained. But ultimately, hey, download the Rolling Hills app. I mean, this is a question that we get all the time. How do we subtly get people to do what we want them to do, and tapping into their passion points around sports is a great way to do it.
And if people know that they can win prizes, and we're in the business of letting people play games, and so right. So let them know that there's social proof. Like Paco 3960 just won $25 in free play. But as we think about AI tools, like what are some of the things that you all see that work for URComped and Trio CRM?
Yeah, we're working with AI. We're investing quite a bit in it. It's it's interesting. There's still definitely a ways to go with AI. I think when it first came out, we're like, hey, we can offload so much of this from our human team to AI. But the thing is, at least with VIP players, I think there's just something like a human interaction becomes a luxury good. So we're figuring out that we're using AI more and more on the back end to make our hosts more effective and offload a lot of the administrative tasks where we thought it could be like, AI voice agents, AI text back and forth. Really, we're at least the way AI is today. Sure, we help it with like generating emails and help with create copy really quick. But for us, what we're finding is players just value talking to a human. And so that's where we are investing our AI development time more and more, is just how do we make it so our human team can be on the phone with players more and more, because we just find that as more and more companies are trying to automate things and make people talk to robots, players are just finding so much more value and like, oh my gosh, it's a human in America. And so that's what we're doing. Talking about, before we got on camera about zigging when other people are zagging. We're just investing in growing our team, get them on the phone more, and just using AI to offload the things where they're not interacting with players.
That's great.
Every chatbot that has ever asked me, what can I help you with today? And then proceeds to completely not give me what I need. It is yet to find, and that was one of the things that Daniel and I were talking about. We just love the fact that you all talk to a bunch of VIPs, and Julia knows this too. It's like, if you're going to be an exceptional marketer, you have to talk to your employees. You have to talk to your guests and understand truly what they're saying, but also what they're telling you by how they're saying it. And I just think that, conferences went away during COVID, and then OI gets jam-packed this year because people want the human connection after Zoom calls all day. So
true.
And Daniel, I know Daniel loves it. So. But along the lines of we don't know this company, but we do see this is where it's going, right? So this is the vendor in the casino space, but it's like chat with Robin, chat with client care with Jess. It will never completely be a substitute for just that person who walks up to you while you're lost, you're looking, or trying to find the next thing to do on property, and just helps you find the next great experience for you to make your day. So Daniel, just to summarize the third point.
Yeah. I mean, it's about that human interaction. It's about training your team. You know where the future's going. I love that Craig's team is making everything as efficient as possible on the preparation, on the efficiency of their day, so that they can maximize the time that they actually spend, which is core to their business, which is talking to people. And again, you just got to find those vendors that help you. We talked a lot about vendor selection for a lot of different things at OIGA. There's a lot of people out there that can help you. You just got to ask the questions. If you're a casino, ask questions of your vendor, ask other people in the industry, and they will most likely help you out.
Yep. But the last three conferences you've come back from, you came back and said, the big topics were AI, and they were mobile apps, and it was just about how you can do things more effectively to really unlock your people's potential.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I can't say enough about that. So we'll wrap with this. We're at almost at times, but building your player database and everything we talked about today, it is part of ACTS. So access, just giving your guests to whatever they need when they need it, and that's the convenience part. Transparency, love over communicating with people, especially while you have their attention, and just making sure they know that there's more for them if they invest more. And then speed and special service. I think anybody who's worked in the service industry for any amount of time in any role, whether you're a bartender or a VIP host, you just know how important that speed and special service is. So Craig, really appreciate you sharing these with us. Super great acronym that we will borrow liberally in the future. So thanks for that.
Yeah, love a good acronym, Craig. That's a good one.
So with that, 3 ways to charge up your casino player acquisition now. It's really about that shift to mobile plus retail, retail visit, help them plan their next visit on mobile. Personalize, it is table stakes to acquire players. It is table stakes for everything we do in life right now. Is personalized based on our demographics or psychographics or behavioral markers. And the third thing, invest in the future now. It's happening. Get out, go to conferences, talk to people who are thinking about this and doing something here. And there are tons of people like Craig who have an idea and turn it into a company through a mix of sort of grit and technology, and it's just going to continue to grow. So with that, we thank everybody who spent a July afternoon. We hope everybody is enjoying their summers and having fun trips like Craig had over the past couple of weeks. And we look forward to seeing you the next month. Next month on the third Thursday, we'll be back in August. Look forward to seeing you then. So thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you, Craig. Appreciate your time, man.
Hey, thanks so much. It was a pleasure. If anybody wants to acquire some new customers, reach out. And we also do cruise events. If you want to do cruise giveaways for your VIP customers, we do that as well.
Nice. I'll give you a buzz right afterwards. Take care.
Thank you.